Can everybody hear me? Yes. Okay.
Yes, good
Wasn't sure if I
morning.
Morning.
wasn't sure if I was already getting started. I just want to thank all of you for being here this morning, and just kind of spending your time with me. I want to try to see if I can share my screen because I do have um, something I'd like to have a couple visuals. Um, so let's try this. Okay. Can everybody see my screen there?
Yes.
All right. Perfect. Um, So first off, let me just say thank you to Felicia Saracino for inviting me on the call this morning, and Jessica for hosting the meeting. Again, I want to thank all of you for being here this morning, and just want to talk about smart devices as it relates to those that are older and how these smart devices can help. First off, my name is Josh Perez. My business is Naples Smart Home Watch, and essentially what I do is I advise on and I design and install smart monitoring systems that can help you monitor your home, especially when you're away. Um, just a Go back. There we go. Just to share my family with you. Actually, my wife, Kristen, and I, we both have five children between us. Three of them are adults. The two girls you see here are Jenna and Meadow, who are now 10 and 8 years old. And I'll probably refer to them as we go through our time together. But that's my family. This was actually a recent cruise, which we tell our girls all the time. You girls are so blessed. They've been on 6 cruises, and I didn't go on my first cruise till I was like, I think it was 20 or 21, and they've been on six already. So they are truly blessed. So today we're going to talk about aging in place and how it can be made easy with smart home technology. One of the things that I found, especially with those that are older, is that they want to continue to enjoy their independence, and those that are their loved ones. Um, they want to have that peace of mind that whether it's their parents or whether it's their grandparents, or it's just somebody that a family friend, they want to have that peace of mind that they are okay. And so this morning, again, we're going to share a few minutes with just about some of the devices that are out there. Just want to take about 15, 20 minutes to talk about the devices, but then also open it up for questions and answers here afterwards. So to hit the ground running, what is a smart home technology? So when you think about smart home technology, what does that look like to you when you think about smart home devices? In a nutshell, smart home technology is refers to devices and systems that are connected to the internet that allow homeowners to control, monitor, and automate various aspects of their home through a smartphone, tablet, or even voice commands. So just think of it this way: smart home devices are connected to the internet, whether that's through cellular or through your home Wi-Fi home network. They're connected to the internet, and you can control them anywhere. So, like for instance, Felicia right now I know is out of town. She's in Germany, and she can check in. She can monitor her home right from her smartphone and make sure that everything is okay. She can check in on her cameras and make sure that everything is okay. And that's what these smart home devices allow us to do. This is something that we didn't have many, many years ago, where we could check in on our home and monitor our home. I share with my clients all the time that it's not just your cameras that give you visibility. It's some of these other devices that we're going to talk about as well, that you have visibility into your home, and you can see, hey, what's going on? How's my home doing? Is there anybody in my home that shouldn't be in my home, and those sorts of things. And then again, as we talk about other smart devices that relate to those that are aging in place. So very simple smart home technology connected to the internet. You can control it from anywhere. The beauty of these smart devices is the fact that you are getting alerts to your phone whether it's like the smart thermostat you see there, or somebody comes to your door and you've got a smart doorbell, you're getting the alerts, hey, somebody's at your door, or the thermostat is letting you know the temperature, or your smart light bulbs, you could turn them on and off. You can control these devices from anywhere. Your smart cameras, that little guy in the middle there, that is a water leak detector. You've got your smart door locks, which again, we're going to talk about these devices, but all of these devices are connected to the internet and can be controlled from anywhere. And if there's an issue, these devices are alerting you. They're going to tell you, hey, somebody's at the front door, or hey, I sense water, or hey, I saw somebody in in the living room, whatever it might be. So smart home technology makes everyday tasks easier, more efficient, and more secure. So let's talk about some of these devices that are available. One of these devices are your smart speakers, or your smart, we refer to them as smart hubs, whether they're the video display type hubs or they're just speakers. The beauty of these devices is you can control with your voice, you can control lights, you can set up reminders, you can make phone calls, you can hear the news, you can listen to music. This is great for our older population because they can set up medication and appointment reminders right through the smart hub. And just to give you an example of that, Alexa, turn down downstairs thermostat to 73. So with my voice, I can just, whether it's going to my phone or whether it's my smart speaker, I can control my devices through the smart speaker, or again, even a smart display. Next one, let's talk about your video doorbells and your smart door locks. The nice thing about these is that your video doorbell, you can see who's at your front door even way before they get to the front door. They could be at the sidewalk, at the driveway, and you get the notification to your phone, hey, somebody's at the door. The beauty of this is, especially for somebody that's a little bit older and is not as mobile, then it's easy. They don't have to necessarily go to the front door. They can easily get on their phone, see who's at the front door, and respond, talk to them. A lot of times, I might be busy just in my office, and one of our girls, their friends come over and they ring the doorbell, and I am busy at the moment, and I can easily just get on the phone and say, hey, I'm sorry, the girls can't play right now, come back a little bit later. And so you can talk, you can see what's going on at your front door, especially with the smart door locks, the smart locks, especially for caregivers, it gives them access. The reason being is because, as you can see with that particular one there, it uses a key code. Some of them can also, you can set up a fingerprint where you can just use your fingerprint to enter the home. But this is something that with these smart door locks, you can set up as many passcodes as you like. You can set them up for family members, set them up for caregivers. You can even set up temporary passcodes where you say, let's say the plumber's coming over from 8 to 12. Well, that code is only going to work from that time frame if you set it up that way. And that's the other beauty of these smart devices. Every one of these smart devices you can schedule, and you can set it up to be automated. So let's look at your smart lighting. You've got your smart light bulbs. You also have your smart recessed lighting. And we're going to come back to this in a moment, but these smart lights can be motion activated, but especially they can be scheduled, as I mentioned. For a while back, I was the light turner oner and the light turner offer. And daddy kind of got tired of turning on lights all the time and turning off lights all the time. So I started getting the smart lights and smart switches, where now when my daughters and I, so we have a 2-story home, so we come out into the hallway, my lights are already on. We get down into the kitchen, lights are already on, thermostat's already set, because I've got it all scheduled. I've got it all automated. Now, the great thing again about these, the smart lighting, whether it's the light bulbs or the recessed lights, is they can, especially if it's motion activated, which we'll come back to, can help prevent falls and improve visibility. So where the elderly person doesn't have to necessarily hit a switch, they can rely on a motion detector that will then turn these lights on, and we'll come back to that. So there's your smart lights that can help. You got your smart thermostats, which you heard me mention to Alexa to turn mine down, that can maintain the comfort and lower the energy bills. You've got the remote access for family and caregivers. And let me back up for just a second, because all of these devices, one of the things that you can set up is it's not just for that particular person, for their home that they have access to it. They can share it with their family members. So family, friends, even caregivers, they can share those devices. So then that person not only can control the devices, but they can also get the alerts. And this is very important, especially when it comes to some sort of emergency, like let's say a fall. That it's good for the caregiver, or again family members, to be able to get those notifications so that they're aware. Again, coming back to that peace of mind, but also the older adult being able
Okay,
to
I'm at
still
this
have their.
villas on Bear Creek, and these
I'm sorry.
poor senior citizens had a fire.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'd missed that.
I think that she took herself off of mute.
Oh, okay. So the thermostats is another good one. So your smart leak detectors and your smart smoke detectors. Let's talk about those for a moment, especially for those that are older. The smart smoke detector. These two devices I recommend just in every home. I recommend the leak detector under the sinks if the home is an older home. If it's a newer home, the area that I highly recommend is where it's underneath the air handler. Because if your air handler goes on the fritz, that pan is filling up with water, and obviously you've heard the horror stories on that. And in this case, if that leak detector senses water, whether the water hits on top of the leak sensor or it also has sensors on the bottom, so if it builds a puddle, it's going to alert you. It's going to alert the individual. It's going to alert the caregiver. It's going to alert family members who have that device has been shared with. Your smoke detector. The great thing about this is, again, especially for our older adults, that if there is smoke, if there is fire, if there is carbon dioxide, then again, that is going to notify. It's going to notify that particular person, again, caregivers or other family members. But the other thing is, this is one of the ones that I recommend for. I don't usually recommend the subscriptions on a lot of these devices, like your smart cameras. You could save them on the cloud, the video recordings. I don't recommend a lot of the subscriptions for a smart smoke detector. I do recommend, because some of these smart smoke detectors, they will alert emergency services immediately once it senses the fire, once it senses, smoke or carbon dioxide. So it's definitely critical, especially, and I recommend for any home, because especially while you're away, you could be out shopping, you could be out playing golf, you could be on vacation, whatever it might be. And if something happens, you're getting the alert right to your phone about about, let's say in this case, smoke or carbon dioxide, or even water in a certain area of your home. So those are good devices. So we mentioned the motion detection. And so you have devices that are specifically will sense motion. The great thing about these motion detectors is it's not just sensing the motion of an individual. It uses different types of technology where it's also body temperature that it's recognizing. So for somebody that is older and they're just in their living room, the motion detector, even though that person can be completely still, because it's recognizing body temperature, that motion detector will still keep the lights on if it's sensing the motion. So the great thing about these things, again, whether you have one, you can have one in the hallway, you can have one in a bedroom, wherever those main areas are, those motion detectors can be set up. And there's an acronym that is IFTTT. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called If This Then That. if the motion detector senses motion, then it turns the lights on. And that's the way you could set it up. And it's the same thing like with a lot of these other devices. So, for example, in my house for our smart doorbell, I have it set up that if the doorbell is rung or if the doorbell senses motion, then my entry lights will go on. So if this, then that. If this happens, then this is going to also happen. It's the beauty of whether it's Alexa or Google Home or even Apple, where you can set up these reminders, you can set up these schedules, you can automate different actions to take place, and this is one of them. You'll notice the Aqara device there, and with Aqara, they have and others have fall detection devices or built within them, and they're set up in the ceiling, and they can sense if an elderly person, if they fall, and they're going to send the alert to, again, a caregiver or a loved one, letting them know that this is something that has happened. So you've got not only motion, but you got the fall detection as well. You've got your devices that can monitor whether it's your heart rate falls, very similar to a regular smartwatch. But these can monitor not only the heart rate, but if there's a fall or sleep, steps, and those sorts of things. And again, it can alert family members to or emergency services of something that's just out of the ordinary. So you've got your smart watches there. You've got your clinical grade EKGs that can be used from home. So this is something that the elderly person can use, but also that data can be shared with their doctors or, again, the caregivers. So those devices are also available. You've got your smart pill dispensers. So this is something, again, that can be scheduled. As I've mentioned, with all of these smart devices, you can schedule and automate the medication sorting and alerts, and also it can notify caregivers, family members, loved ones if pills are missed. So that's something that's absolutely important, and those devices are available as well. You've got we probably remember these like the old SOS devices. Well, now you've got the smart ones. Again, remember, these smart devices, they're either connected to cellular or they're connected to the internet. But the beauty is that whoever needs to be notified, whether it's the individual or loved ones, they're going to be notified. So if the older person is wearing this SOS device and they fall, something happens, there's some sort of emergency, they can push that button, and that's alerting either the caregiver or loved ones. So you've got those devices. So to kind of bring this to a close and then open it up for questions, the benefits for seniors and loved ones, again, as we mentioned at the top of the workshop, for seniors, they have their independence. For they've got the greater comfort and ease of living. Things are easier as far as lighting and whether it's the cameras, the emergency devices. There's safety without constant supervision. And then for the family and caregivers, you've got the remote monitoring and the alerts. You're going to be alerted. You've got that peace of mind. You know that, hey, if there's something that is going on, if there's some sort of emergency, I'm going to be alerted about it. I'm going to be sending an alert right to my phone. Oh, hey, I've got, there's water, or there is, high humidity, or the camera picked up something, whatever it might be. You've got that peace of mind. There's the easier communication and the check-ins. You can always check in on your loved ones, whether it's the smart speaker or whether it's the camera. I didn't mention this when I started, but with the camera, you can have the two-way audio where you can speak to them, and especially with the Alexa devices like your smart speakers, you can talk to your loved one. They can talk back to you. They can make calls through those smart speakers or the smart displays. So choosing the right setup, you want to start simple, especially if you're not familiar with the devices. You want to start simple. Choose the ecosystem, whether it's Alexa, Google Home, or Apple. You want to make sure that the devices integrate very easily, and this is where one of the things that I specialize in. The other thing that I mentioned is you want to focus on safety areas first, your entryways, bathroom, bedroom. And I always think of it this way, is thinking about what is our regular routine and kind of making sure that our devices are helping with our regular routine. Like I mentioned earlier with my daughters, we have our regular routine of coming from upstairs, downstairs to make breakfast, get ready for school, and those sorts of things. So I wanted to make sure lights were on at that time. I wanted to make sure thermostat was set to a proper temperature and those sorts of things. And that's what you want to focus on as it relates to these devices and thinking about, okay, where do I start? What do I have installed first? Think simple. Like a real simple kit to start with would be like a smart speaker, maybe some smart lighting, a fall or presence or motion detector, and the doorbell, like we mentioned earlier, for especially for somebody that can't be as mobile, they could easily answer the door without even going to the door itself. So the end result of all of this, and especially as it relates to our older adults, is a smarter, safer, and a more secure home. And especially for even us as the loved ones that have an elderly parent, or if it's the grandparent, knowing that my mom and dad's home is safe and secure, that gives me peace of mind. And knowing that it's smarter, that it's helping them and helping them be safe and be secure, there again, it's giving me that peace of mind, and it's also giving them that peace of mind as well. So at this time, I want to go ahead and open it up to just some questions. Anything that I can answer or clarify, ask away.
So, Josh, I appreciate your time today. I will say that I had a friend whose mother was constantly falling, and one time she fell out in the garage and couldn't get herself up. So
Oh,
at
wow.
that time, I recommended that, of course, her phone was in the house. I recommended getting the Apple Watch, and
Sure.
that helped them immensely because she just she was very independent and didn't like that she may not be what she once was and is stable on her feet, but it did help them when she would have those occasional falls that they could check on her and get over to her. Uh,
Absolutely.
and another thing that I recently came across was things, for those that aren't, nearby constantly checking on their senior, is their sensors, besides just the motion sensors, but even like making sure they actually got out of their bed and went into another area of the house. There's
Yes.
sensors you can put in the furniture to say that they like sat down in their favorite chair, so
Yes.
that and cameras in the refrigerator and stuff, just that, know that they are, maybe they are eating and they're not just languishing in their bed doing nothing. And I thought those were really neat ideas.
Yes, absolutely. And I and I appreciate your point as it relates to the smartwatch. Again, as we mentioned, just the having the fall detection and that sort of thing. So think of it this way, like the SOS device, you can have some of those are wearable, and then you've got some of those that are installed in the home. And so this is again something that we have to think about is, okay, for my loved one, what's the better choice? Like, for it may be both, it may be just a wearable, it may be just something installed in the home, but definitely appreciate that. And the other thing too about the Apple Watch is a good one. But sometimes, like I know with some of our elderly, the having, it can get confusing with some of the devices, whether it's a smartphone, whether it's a watch. So like some of these other smart devices that are particular to whether it's the heart rate, whether it's the fall detection, might be simpler for some. And there
I agree.
again, it just depends on the person, and that's one of the things that we have to, we know our loved one, we know that specific person, and we've just got to find the devices that are going to be easier for them. So I definitely appreciate those comments.
Yeah,
Any other
because at one
questions?
point the same woman was using her cell phone as if it were the TV remote and getting very frustrated because her TV
Yes,
wasn't working.
exactly. Yep. Any other questions?
I have a question, Josh. Thank you, number one, for doing this. This was very informative. And I know that Courtney had asked about the linked list, for all the products, and it looks like Lisa put one up
I,
in our chat.
right.
Um,
And I do have a list, and I do want to provide that for sure.
okay, perfect. But my second question is, I'm assuming you live out in Florida. Um,
Yes.
so what about the people who are in Florida and we want to do like a webinar like this for the community? That how would you recommend that we try to find somebody like you and our local, like I'm the other side of the country, I'm out in Washington. So
Okay.
how would you recommend that I try to find somebody who has, your level of knowledge, can present well and all that to other people, but also especially the senior community?
Right. So I think one of the things that I would look into, I know when we're talking about smart devices, whether it's smart monitoring systems, but what I would do is maybe Google some companies, and especially like those that are definitely well known, and try to go about it that way, because they're obviously going to be knowledgeable, and a lot of them do kind of what I do. I've been in many private communities where I've shared workshops similar to this one, and the private communities are always looking for people to come in and share an informational workshop type of a thing, and especially something as it relates to protecting your home. But I would start there as far as trying to find a company and then seeing, hey, do you ever do workshops, and to that regard. But yeah, I know that they're out there for sure. Any other questions? Let me get to the chat here. Okay. Anything that anybody else? I don't want to miss anybody. I want to make sure that.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
Which one would you recommend that would be a good, easy closing gift that could be used generally for a senior, just like the most bang for your buck, one that doesn't overwhelm them? Because at least when I'm working with seniors, all of these smart devices tend to overwhelm them, and their caretaker or family member is they've got too much going on to try and figure it out. So something that's
Right.
simple that we can give at closing, even I could set up before I leave. Do you have any recommendations there?
So now, and I know it was cutting out a little bit. Was there a specific device that you were saying, or just in general?
Anything in general that would be easy, used right away, and could be given at closing?
Right. So I think one of the things that I would say would probably be the easiest would be like that SOS button, where it's a wearable, whether they wear it around their neck or it could be clipped to the, pants or dress or something, or their clothing. So I think that would be the easiest. Another easy one would even be the smart camera, because those could even be set up on like a countertop, and they're very easy to set up. And you'd be surprised, like a lot of these devices are very pretty easy to set up as far as getting them, set up, connected to the internet, and being able to use. But yeah, I would say probably those two would be some of the easiest ones.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. And let me find this list because I want to make sure I put it in the chat. And while I am doing this, if any other questions at all, anything that anyone else can think of? Well, I do thank you, and I don't want to take up too much more of anyone else's time. And I know we're getting over the time here, but I do want to thank you for being with me and allowing me to just share about some of these devices and just kind of really just give a lot of information regarding what's out there. And what I would do is even just to kind of further the research, if you will, is even just going on Amazon, and that's going to be the links that I'll send you are Amazon links, and just checking these devices for yourself and doing your own research, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for a particular loved one, or just the research in general. You can get a lot of information there on Amazon. So I'm just going to copy and paste this here and get that over to you guys. So I'll put this on the chat here. All right, so that's a list of quite a few of the devices that we talked about, more specifically those that relate to the elderly. And again, you just click the link and it'll take you to Amazon, to that particular device, and you can just do some more research. My email, and I'll just type that in the chat. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. naplessmarthomewatch@gmail.com. And if I can answer any other questions or help in any way, again, my company is Naples Smart Home Watch, and naplessmarthomewatch@gmail.com is the email address. And don't hesitate to shoot me an email if you have any questions. But thank you all for joining, and God bless you, and have a great day. I'll just stick around for another minute or so if anybody had a question. But thank you.
Thank you so much, Josh. It was great.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Thank you, Lisa.
Do we know about smartwatches for Samsung devices, which seniors could use?
So when you say Samsung devices, are you talking about
The one which connected with the Samsung phones, not the iPhone.
right. So the Samsung phone, and you have one of these?
I don't, but I know clients who do, and
Okay.
I always recommend the iPhone. But it's like, well, I don't have an iPhone. I don't want to spend that much money for iPhones. So
Sure. So most of these devices so it's still app related. So even with whatever smartphone, whether it's an iPhone, Android, whatever it might be, you're going to be able to download the app for that specific device and connect it and monitor, communicate with it and install it. Yes.
So iPhone connects to the Android devices?
Which device you said?
Android.
So yeah, well, it's not necessarily like if you're talking about the smart home device, every smart home device that, like we talked about this morning, every one of them have an app that's going to be downloaded on your phone. So whether you have an Android smartphone or whether you have an iPhone, whatever smartphone you have, you're going to be able to download the app to be able to install and then monitor that device. Yes,
No,
whatever
I was
smart.
talking about the wearables, like the wearable
Yes.
watch, which monitors,
Yes,
let's say, the
correct.
heartbeat. Okay.
Yes, it still uses an app. That wearable smartwatch uses an app that you'll just download onto, whether it's a Samsung phone, iPhone, any other Android phone. Yes.
from your experience, what do you see people use the most? What is most helpful? Like, you probably have a lot of seniors.
It's yeah, well, it's interesting because it's like kind of like I mentioned um, before. It is specific to the individual, because you do have like some elderly that aren't as mobile, where then there are others that are, they're very mobile. So like for an elderly person that was not as mobile, I would recommend like the video doorbell, the smart doorbell, because then they can answer the door and take care of who might be at the door without even having to always keep going to the door. You may have an older person that is prone to falls, so then like your fall detecting devices would be better, whether it's a wearable or whether it's a specific device. We were talking about earlier, some of our folks are bedridden, whether it's for a long period of time or short period of time. So then you've got some of these devices that, like your motion devices, that can make sure that, hey, it's picking up a heart rate and that sort of thing. So even if our loved one is bedridden, we also want to have that peace of mind that they're okay, right? That they're good. So it really just depends on the person. I think when we're talking about some of the popular ones, definitely the cameras are popular, especially because it gives you that actual visibility into the home. And you can also use the two-way audio through the camera. So you don't necessarily have to call them or even call them through an Alexa or Google device. You can even use the camera for that. But yeah, it really just depends on the individual. Make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat here. Nope. Any other questions at all? Anything anybody else can think of that?
Great information, Josh. I'll end the call whenever you're ready.
All right, sounds good. And Don, just wanted to check, did you click on any of those links? I just want to make sure the links worked. Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jessica. And thank you again, everyone. God bless you. And I am going to sign off. Thank you so much.